Hi guys, welcome back to the channel on a brand new video on Marvel Contest of Champions. I'm really happy to get my hands on this Bishop. As part of the Content Contributors program, I get access to this champion. This champion will be removed from my account at the point of this program part ending. So I don't get to keep him, to give you an idea. So what I'm going to do is going to give an overview of this champion, look at the abilities, look at kind of some practical usage of where it can be used in different areas, just talk about the champion, pros and cons, as well as give my final thoughts at the end. So let's jump into it. So the main thing to really say about Bishop, it's all about that energy sun, it's all about that energy absorption sun, and at the same time it's all about that persistency. The big nod to the kind of characters, kind of history in some aspects, is this kind of future jumping and past and time travel things, which is very prominent in the game. And this whole thing about persistency and kind of going from battle to battle and kind of changing the way that you go into the next battle is the main thing with this champion. You're going to hear the word prowess a lot during this video, because that is the main aspect of what you need to build for this champion and what you're kind of starting the battle with regards to synergies, and at the same time what is going to help you to develop things like your energy damage and kind of absorbing them, and at the same time absorbing them for healing. So we're going to go and talk about that a lot. One main thing to focus on is signature ability. Obviously it's one of the most important things about what makes champions so unique, and this one is no exception. The kind of idea that we have talked about of going from battle to battle is really important, and how much power you have going into your next battle is going to change the way and the amount of damage and the amount of effects and what effects it does when it comes to the signature ability. Obviously, when Kabam give us these certain champions to review, it's not at the point you're going to get them. When you probably get the champion out of crystals or grinding in arena, you're only going to get it, you know, if you awaken it, you got an awakened gem, it's there. Obviously, you may not have a signature ability, but if you do, you won't get the 99 which we have. And obviously, that does affect what you're going to get at the very first point of getting the champion, if you do. And when it comes to what you get, obviously it is ramped up quite considerably. When it comes to 0 bars, obviously special attacks become unblockable with a stack of 10 or more prowess. And obviously we're talking again about prowess, and we'll talk about as well how to kind of build that. And that's done from well-timed blocks. So say you're kind of like doing a parry, you're obviously doing a block, and it will boom, pop up with 3 stacks every time you do that. When it comes to 1 bar, while blocking, you gain stun immunity and enemies lose 80% ability accuracy. Very handy when it comes to certain frustrating champions. Say, obviously you can see when you're doing questing that you're like, hey, I've got a magic coming up, I want to reduce that ability accuracy. Well, make sure you end the previous battle with 1 bar of power active, because that's going to be helpful to a degree. Obviously that will go from time to time. And with 2 bars, it's all about that special attack leaving your enemies with incineration damage. And then when it comes to 3 bars, you start the fight with steady release active for 15 seconds. So there's a lot of positive effects from that. And again, the main aspects of this champion is going from battle to battle. I've had great fun with this champion when it comes to doing questing as opposed to any other content in the game. The champion gets a really high amount of energy resistance, and obviously when you're comparing off to other champions like your Captain Marvels, and there's obviously loads of others of different examples of energy absorption. Also Ultron is another example of such thing. So there are a lot of champions like this that are kind of great for energy absorption, and this champion obviously gets a great amount of energy resistance. So there's some good and positive aspects to this champion. Now this champion is incredibly complex, and the way that you kind of utilize your kind of signature ability, and the way that you kind of go again from battle to battle, and the way as well that you absorb those prowess can increase things like energy damage and just the whole kind of kick-assery of this champion. I must admit, where questing was a real advantage and also was quite fun was building up to an L3 at the point of just kind of like killing off the enemy. So the clip I'm going to run is taking down an enemy Cyclops whilst I had 3 bars of power. And then what I was doing was I was then going over to a fight against Rogue, and then I was applying that L3 right off the bat, and what it was doing was just putting an intense amount of damage into the enemy. Now whether or not I say that is kind of a good way to play the champion, it probably isn't, but it's quite fun to kind of go from battle to battle and kind of then look at your signature ability in conjunction with what champion you've got up next. I think I was just doing this to test out, but I really did find it incredibly fun just to kind of like smash into rogue with a huge chunk of damage being done. The next thing I'm going to talk about is regeneration, the kind of concept of absorbing your prowess in order to then transfer it into regen and heal. So the clip that I'm running at the moment shows that and will demonstrate that. But when it comes to the kind of positives and negatives colliding, it is over this kind of prowess thing and the aspects of health. And considering that you have to do a well-timed block, essentially what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to get sort of hit, which then is building power. And obviously the more prowess that you want to kind of do, you can't kind of hoard that prowess up to anything past 30 because it's gonna punish you a lot. So it's gonna have to be a case you do very kind of quick regens, similar to Blade. You can't just stay there just going, oh, I'm going to take damage and regen at the same time. It's just a lost leader with regards to doing that whole regeneration, absorbing your power. But in this case, obviously, absorbing your prowess is different because you have to build it first to then absorb it. But don't go past your L3, or don't go up to your L3 and then go, hey, well, I'm losing damage now. Yeah, that's the thing. You need to make sure you absorb those prowess, get the health back up, and get back into the fight. And then try and hopefully use that prowess to then emit some amazing damage on the enemy. The synergy bonuses are good. When it comes to things like energy conduit, and that's the thing, I'm kind of... It's good, but I do see the kind of criticisms and like disappointment from it. Yeah, energy resistance has been increased. That's all right. And obviously you do get that prowess and power to start off with. But with regards to like, as your power gains, and say you go into the next fight with like a full amount of power, and you say, right, okay, I'm low on health, I would like to regen. When you start, you have to make that decision. You're going to have to either hit the L3 to start off with in order to kind of then maximize your damage output if that is your plan. But when it comes to the point when you go, hey, well, okay, right, I've lost all my prowess now, so I'm going to have to rebuild my prowess. Whereas obviously you'd start the battle with it. So you're going to have to make that decision very quickly. Like, do I start the battle and hit him with my prowess, or do I start the battle and then regen? That'll have to be your kind of your thought process with it if you're running this synergy. The final synergy to talk about is this one with Psylocke, this Chronal Anchor. And the way it works is that it reduces down the effectiveness of regen and also power gain abilities. So very good to use against certain champions, even could be used against Sabretooth, Wolverine. There's a whole list of champions that regen and have like extensive power gains. So that could be a really effective thing to really help you out. Okay, my final thoughts on Bishop is he's a good champion, but I just don't know if it's for me. I like the concepts of kind of usage in questing, and if I got it, I probably would quest with him a lot. With regards to Alliance quests, probably that would be a good shout. With regards to Alliance Wars, defense placement, yeah, could make it a bit difficult, but at the same time, I think people have got the wealth of champions in order to kind of really minimize a lot of the positive effects that the champion gives out. Strategically, for offensive, that could be an option for Alliance Wars, in that you would have to future plan when it comes to then putting him against different things. So you would have to pick and choose things greatly. If you're going up against something that's a bit tricky, then he may not be the right kind of champion for that. But like I said, he's strong when it comes to questing. That idea that you could get up to an L3, finish off your enemy, go into the next one, apply to like the L3 just there and then to begin with, and putting off an amazing amount of damage is something that I'd quite like. So I don't know if I'm going to go for them with regards to crystals. We'll have to see if I'm feeling flush this month with regards to cash. I was interested in Sabretooth. I was hoping I could review Sabretooth, but instead Bishop, and it has been a champion that I've wanted for a long time. So when it comes to the release, I'll have to consider it. But either way, it's a good champion, solid and kind of well-grounded new ideas for the kind of dynamics of moving from battle to battle, as well as the whole kind of aspect of energy damage absorption and the whole things with potency. Either way, your thoughts in the comment section below about this champion. And I've been RichTheMan. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions based content, and as always, I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye bye for now.